You looking to play your wild card ahead of game week 30? Then here is the best draft you can build. Let's get into it.
Yo, listen up, Rue is stepping up the game, where fantasy Premier League runs in his veins. From transfers to captains, he's always on top, guiding you through every game week non-stop. They say Rue got that Salah flow. Welcome to the channel, enjoy the show. Wild cards, free hits with so much vibe. If you're hunting for success, then make sure you subscribe.
Good day, mate. Welcome back to the channel. I'm FPL Root and welcome back to another FPL video. So in today's video, we're going to be going through the best possible wildcard draft for game week 30. So a lot of people will be playing their wildcard in this game week because they've kind of dead-ended into game week 29, which was a blank game week. And now they've got a load of Luton players, a load of Spurs players, a load of Villa players, etc., that they need to get out their team. This draft is bearing in mind the doubles that are coming up for the rest of the season. Obviously they're not confirmed yet, but I've done my best to go with the predictions, and hopefully this draft can help you survive until the doubles come and then you can capitalize on that. Anyway, we'll start off in goal. So I've gone for Dubravka and Areola. I think they are obviously the cheapest playing goalkeepers out there at the moment, apart from someone like Ortega or even Kelleher for Liverpool, but I think Alisson and Ederson will be back at some point. Maybe not for another 2-3 weeks, but they will be back at some point. And I don't really want to be making a goalkeeper transfer for the rest of the season if you are playing a wild card in game week 30. So I've gone with Dubravka because West Ham at home, Everton at home, Fulham away in the next three look very, very good. There's also a chance that he does double in 34. So for those of you that are playing a wild card and don't have a free hit yet, free hit left, then probably that is a nice move to make. With Areola, West Ham don't blank or don't double for the rest of the season, so a really solid pick. Whereas Dubravka, I don't think he'll blank, but there is still a possibility. The fixtures for West Ham after them 3 nice games for Dubravka: Wolves away, Fulham at home, and Palace away. So some really nice fixtures to kind of alternate between them. Obviously, this game week they're going to be playing each other in game week 30, so that could be a difficult decision, but for me, I am going to go with a home goalkeeper and start Dubravka against West Ham at home. In defence, Virgil van Dijk with Bournemouth, with Brighton at home. This was a tough one because I don't really want to spend that much on a goalkeeper, to be totally honest with you. But for me, with Alexander-Arnold being a doubt, or he might not be back, guaranteed be back there by then, or who knows, he could get rotated because Bradley's been doing so well recently. I have decided to go for Virgil, but I do think Trent is definitely the better option. So if you do have the money, then I would be going for Trent, but Van Dijk is definitely a solid pick. You know he's going to start, you know he's going to play 90 minutes, and Liverpool's defence has actually been quite good this season, so that's why I have gone for Virgil. I've also gone for Gusto, so the Chelsea wing-back. Obviously, if Reece James does come back from injury, but I don't think he will. Even if he does come back, he's going to get injured straight away. We know the deal with Reece James. He's kind of expected back, I'd say, towards the end of the season, potentially even out for the season. It is a hamstring injury, which is normally around 4 or 5 weeks. But with Reece James, with his injuries, you never know how long that could be. So for me, I think Gusto is solid until the foreseeable future. Obviously, Chelsea have some nice fixtures coming up. They've got Burnley at home, Man United at home, Sheffield United away, Everton at home, and then they've got Spurs at home, and then they should have a double game week of Aston Villa and Brighton away, and then they should have a double game week in 37 as well of Forest away and Arsenal away. So a load of fixtures for Chelsea. They're one of the teams that does have a lot of fixtures to come up. They've got a couple games in hand, so I think Gusto can be a really nice pick. Also gone for Anderson of Crystal Palace. He's got Forest away in this game week, but the fixtures for Palace actually do look really nice. They've got Bournemouth away after that, but then they've got 2 tough games. But I think the squad, the wildcard, can deal with that, can rotate. There's definitely options you've got on your bench as well. And for me, I do like it for the next 2 fixtures. And I think he's attacking as well. He can get a few goals. And like I said, the 2 fixtures, they're likely to double in 34, 2 home games, West Ham and Newcastle. And then their fixtures for the rest of the season are pretty nice after 34, which is Man United, Fulham away, Man United at home, Wolves away, and Villa at home. So Palace, defender, does look very nice for the rest of the season. On the bench, I've gone for Braithwaite. Again, Everton's fixtures actually do look really, really nice, but their form is shocking at the minute. I don't think they've won in 9 games, which for me is a bit of a surprise considering how well they have been doing since that they did get announced that they did get that 10-point deduction. But kind of since the deduction's been a bit relaxed, they're in bad form. They haven't won in the league since game week 17. It's actually over 9 games. It's like 11 games they haven't won. So terrible form for Everton. However, Branthwaite at 4.2 million. I think Sean Dyche will turn it around. Good fixtures as well for them. Bournemouth away, Newcastle away, which is a bit iffy. Then Burnley at home, Chelsea away, Forest at home, Brentford at home. Then they should double in game week 37 with Sheffield United at home and Liverpool at home. And then even before that in 36, they've got Luton away. So some good fixtures there. He's probably going to stay on the bench for most weeks, but he's a starter. He's got a double game week at some point. So I think it's a nice option to go for. Also in the bench, we've gone for Gabriel. Obviously, could have gone for Saliba, Ben White, but I think a lot of us did get Gabriel for a bit cheaper. So for me, he's staying in the team at that price. Obviously, he's got City away, which is not ideal. But after that, Arsenal's fixtures do look incredible, to be honest. Luton at home, Brighton away, Villa at home, Wolves away. And then they've got Spurs in 35. And then they've got Bournemouth at home. And then potentially a double game week of Man United and Chelsea before finishing at Everton at home on the last game of the season. It's a tough one because they've got Champions League as well now. They're going to play Bayern Munich, which you probably do fancy them to win that tie. And then they'll have Man City or Real Madrid. And it's going to be in and around game week 36, 37, around that time point, kind of after the Spurs game as well in 35. So it's going to be a tough run-in in general for Arsenal post 35. But I think the fixtures before that, and with the fact they've got a double game week, yeah, for me, that's enough to put Gabriel in there. Overall, it could say it is a bit of a random defence. There's no City in there. There's no Man United who potentially ever gain double game week in 34. But I think there's a chance to bring in Man United in 33 before that, just to see how they're doing, what their form's like, because you never know with them, to be honest. So for me, Man United players are a little bit later on in the season. And again, for people that do have their free hit, you don't need to worry about that because obviously you can play that in 34 and then worry about that later. So for me, I'm really happy with this defence. I didn't want to spend too much because I feel like it's impossible to pick good defences this season. So I've gone for Liverpool, gone for Arsenal, solid players that are going to start. And then I've gone for a few, I guess, different options of teams with good fixtures, attacking players, etc., etc. So overall, happy with this defence, happy with the goalkeepers. Now onto the midfield, which I think is a little bit more straightforward than the defence. The defence was a bit tough to pick because I knew I wanted Liverpool and Arsenal, but I wasn't sure on the rest of them. But I think the defence is pretty straightforward. Mo Salah is definitely back in the team. He's got a few minutes now since his injury. He's back firing, scoring goals, and for me, he is straight in this team. And with a very, very nice 2 fixtures, both at home coming up in game week 30 and 31. They've got Brighton and then Sheffield United at home. And after that, it's Man United away, which again, Salah loves to play Man United, so I'm not even stressed about that one. Then they've got Crystal Palace, Fulham, West Ham, and then they run into a bit of a tough fixture of Spurs and then Aston Villa away in a double game week that is supposed to be in game week 37, which is Villa away and Everton away. And then they've got Wolves on the final day. So a very nice run in for Liverpool. To be honest, the only tough teams they do play is Man United, Tottenham, which you fancy Salah to score in both of them, and then Villa away as well. So Salah for me, is a must-own for the rest of the season, probably even more than Haaland. Next up, Cole Palmer, a player that has smashed it, to be honest, this season. I know a lot of people were doubting him when he was at like 4.9 million. They were saying, no, he's just going to have penalties. He's just going to get lucky with the penalties. But he's been on fire, to be honest, this season. 11 goals, 9 assists in the Prem, 20 returns in 19 starts. Yeah, the geezer's on fire. And yeah, I think he's got to be in the team, especially with the amount of double game weeks Chelsea have. As I've mentioned with Gusto, Burnley at home, Man United at home, Sheffield United away, Everton at home. Then they've got Spurs and then potentially a double game week of Villa away and Brighton away. And then they've got West Ham at home, Forest away, Arsenal away. So it is tough at the moment. The fixtures do look very, very nice. Don't get me wrong. But That could definitely change with the FA Cup results, etc., etc. But I think you're going to want Chelsea players because you know they've got the fixtures to come. They're going to have to play them at some point. So for me, you're just loading up and know when it comes around, you can have them in your team. And to be honest, the fixtures up until the double game weeks do look good for Chelsea as well. And they've started to pick up a bit of form. I don't want to speak too much because I'd rather they didn't, considering I'm a Spurs fan and I don't want Pochettino to win anything with them. But yeah, they do look very, very nice at the minute. Obviously, that could change with Chelsea. We don't actually know how they're going to do for the rest of the season because of how inconsistent they are. Next up, I want to talk about Anthony Gordon. So, a player that was out for 4 to 6 months has somehow managed to play in the FA Cup. A player that's been on fire this season as well. 9 goals, 8 assists, 17 returns in 26 games. And for his price point at 6.1 million, I think he is a must have in this team, to be honest, because of Newcastle's fixtures as well. I know they've been so bad recently. They're in Eddie Howe's in trouble, they're in trouble. But I think they're going to start picking up form. I think the fact that their fixtures are so good with West Ham at home, Everton at home, Fulham away, Spurs at home, which you're going to fancy Newcastle scoring that. Their potential double game week in Man United away and Crystal Palace away. And then after that, the fixtures are ridiculous again. Sheffield United at home, Burnley away, Brighton at home, and then Brentford away. So a ridiculous run in for Newcastle. This even could be a reason to not play the free hit if you own it, if you have it in game week 34, because of the fixtures are so good. You're going to probably want Newcastle players throughout that time. I know the form is not there, but I think they're going to start to pick it up. And I think they have to for Eddie Howe to stay in a job, to be totally honest with you. Next up, let's talk about Saka. Again, a player I think most of us owned or have owned. Arsenal on fire at the minute. 8 wins in a row after they lost, well, they dropped points in 3 games in a row, 18, 19, 20. They drew to Liverpool, lost to West Ham, lost to Fulham. And for me, with their fixtures, like I mentioned with Gabriel, I know with Man City away, I've got Saka on the bench for this one, but there is an argument to say he should be starting. He's on pens. I fancy Arsenal to score in that game. And then Luton at home, Brighton away, Villa at home. Just ridiculous. Just fixtures are so good. Double game week as well at some point, albeit it is a Chelsea. But Chelsea at home, you got to fancy Arsenal to score goals in that one as well, to be honest. And they're going to be in the title running. Like I said with Gabriel, I'm just a bit worried about the Champions League. If they do get through Bayern, then their fixtures start to load up around that game week 35, 36, 37 point if they make it through to the semi-final where they play City or Real Madrid. So for me, I actually think Saka is essential, but I would be wary around that point. Could he be rested if they're not in the title run anymore for the Champions League? Yeah, I doubt it, but because I think they'll still be there. But yeah, something to consider. We'll go back to the starting 11 now. So Son stays in the team. I know a lot of people brought him in for either the free hit or for the blank game at 29. It's a tricky one with Son because we've seen him put stinkers in like he has done at Fulham away. Every time I captain him, to be honest, I know I'm wearing a career shirt now. So yeah, big up Son. I love Son, but every time I captained him, he's just not done the business. Maybe I need to stop captaining him. Maybe I'm the problem. But yeah, the fixtures for Spurs are very nice for the next 3 game weeks. Luton at home, West Ham away. I've got to fancy them to score in that one, especially with West Ham still being in Europe. And then they've got Forest at home. Then Newcastle, and it's a really tough run in for Spurs where you probably want to jump off Son and maybe go to a Man United midfielder, maybe a Bruno Fernandes, maybe even a Rashford, because Man United's fixtures do look good at that point. So Man United have got Bournemouth away, Newcastle at home, and Sheffield United at home in a double potentially. Then Burnley at home, then Crystal Palace away. Whereas Son has, from that same point, Son's got Newcastle away, Chelsea away, Arsenal at home, Liverpool away, and a double game week potentially of Burnley at home, Man City at home before they finish on Sheffield United away. So yeah, it's tough fixtures. And for me, that is definitely a transfer almost booked in to go to someone like Bruno Fernandes, take out Son. Even though Son does do the business against these teams, it's obviously going to be harder. He's not going to be scoring doubles. He's not going to be getting 17 pointers like we've seen him get against Villa, etc. So even though Son's in this team, it's probably only for the next 3 game weeks. but he can definitely stay in the team. He's not someone that is urgently needs to come out if you are playing a wild card, because you don't really want to be booking in transfers when you just played your wild card. I just think if you don't want to play your free hit, if you got it in 34, then I think Son could be a very, very nice option. So up front, it is a free up front, but it's probably more of a 3-5-2 at the minute. So Darwin Núñez gets in the team. As I've said with Salah, Liverpool's fixtures towards the end of the season are looking very, very nice. They're starting to get a few players back. Obviously, Salah's back. Trent should be back soonish. Alisson should be back soonish. And for me, yeah, Darwin and Salah in your team, you're going to be getting goals. And with the fixtures, like I said, Brighton at home, shipping loads of goals. Sheffield United at home, even though Sheffield United are better away from home, it's at Anfield. So I'm not too sure whether they're going to be able to keep to that. Man United away, Palace at home, Fulham away, West Ham away, Spurs at home. Yeah, like I said, ridiculous fixtures. And Darwin this season, I know a lot of people are frustrated with him, but his 10 goals, 10 assists in 17 starts is so good, so good. And for his price point, 7.5 million, I think he is one of the highest must owns in this team. And I said that about a lot of people in this team, but I think Darwin is definitely up there along with Salah. Muniz now the Fulham forward. So I feel like I talk about him every week. I have been suggesting him as a transfer for about 5 weeks. He keeps scoring and scoring and scoring. This season, 7 goals. Well, to be honest, the last 8 games, I think it is 7 goals, 1 assist. So good. 10 starts he started, and for 4.6 million, he is a no-brainer on the wild card. Someone that you can put in your team, bring him in when maybe a midfielder has a tough game. For example, this game week, I think I will be, if I'm not free hitting, but I think I recommend playing him instead of Saka. He's got Sheffield United away, then he's got Forest away, and then it runs into a few tough games. Newcastle at home, West Ham away, Liverpool at home, and even after that, Crystal Palace at home, Brentford away, Man City, Luton. So good fixtures. I'd say either side of that 3. It is a tough one though, because Raul Jimenez is back from injury, but you just can't drop him. I just think you can't drop him, and he's a player that is not going to have any more doubles this season, which is maybe you should be looking at that. But he is consistent. You can always move him on, and for me, he's on fire. So for them next 2 fixtures of Sheffield United and Forest, I think it is a very nice player to have on the bench / playing when you need him. And then Erling Haaland, currently 4.3 million, probably going to drop one more time before you'll probably need to play the wild card. Again, a player that has come back from injury, probably hasn't looked his best, which is very, very high. He's still got 25 returns in 22 starts this season. Fixtures for City are a bit of a mixed bag, but they've got Arsenal at home, which Haaland done well against last season. Remember him taking his headband off and running with his blonde locks jiggling everywhere. Then Villa at home, then Crystal Palace away, Luton at home, Bournemouth, Brighton away, Forest away, Wolves at home, and then a potential double game week of Fulham away and Spurs away, and then West Ham at home. So again, some good fixtures for Haaland kind of post game week 32. Yeah, probably going to be a captain for most of that time. For me, yeah, he's definitely a must-own for the rest of the season. I know some people said, can you go without Haaland? If there was a Harry Kane this season, then absolutely, you could go Harry Kane, save a bit of money. If there was even, I don't know, a Sadio Mane, like someone like a Luis Suarez, a Gareth Bale, but I don't think there's another player that can even get near to him, and you can use the cash somewhere else. For example, even forwards, there's no forward, maybe Ollie Watkins, and then who are you upgrading a midfielder to? There's not really, you could upgrade to Bruno Fernandes, but then you still have loads of cash. Yeah, for me, it's not worth it. There's no other big hitter apart from Salah, maybe Son and Haaland. So for me, yeah, just go with 3 big hitters, because there's nowhere else to spend the money, I think. That was it for this wildcard draft. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Have I missed anyone out? And yeah, please smash a like on this video. It does help me out a lot. We're trying to hit 2,000 subscribers before the end of the season. We've got 8 game weeks now to do it in. I think we can do it, but I just need your help to try and hit that. So please smash a like, share this video, let your friends know about this channel, subscribe if you've got multiple YouTube accounts. And yeah, I really do appreciate you watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. Cheers.